The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of Choice 105.3 or its advertisers.
Tell me what you want. Tell me what you need.
Listen.
Caller, you want to tell me and then we tell the rest.
Learn.
My passion first is for young men to be what we used to call in the boys' brigade, sure and steadfast.
Tell me, a Choice program on Thursdays from 8 to 10 p.m. It's eye-opening.
Hello. I want to tell people them be careful what they call me, these people. Anybody calling us trash, we're going to lick you and we're going to lick you real hard.
Thought-provoking.
You own people you're calling outsiders.
No. Interesting.
Hush your mouth, because you don't even know the facts. Oral Martin should have make it his business to notify NNC.
Oh, you work at NNC?
And let me know what.
And entertaining. Tell me, heard all over the world on www.choicefm1053.com. What have you got to say? Calling on area code 869-469-5300. From the USA or Canada, call 203-983-8903. From your cell phone, call 662-5304 or text 1053 or email tellmechoice@yahoo.com. Nivisions, near and far, your chance to call in on Tell Me on Choice Community Radio.
Tell me what you want. Tell me what you need. Tell me if I'm good enough for you, baby.
Seabridge SKN announces their daily schedule between St. Kitts and Nevis. The boat departs Nevis at 7 a.m., 9 a.m., 11 a.m., 1, 3, and 6 p.m. That's 7 a.m., 9 a.m., 11 a.m., 1, 3, and 6 p.m. The boat leaves St. Kitts at 8 a.m., 10 a.m., 12 noon, 2, 4, and 7 p.m. That's leaving St. Kitts at 8 a.m., 10 a.m., 12 noon, 2, 4, and 7 p.m. Seabridge SKN, bridging the gap.
Yeah, my name is Chris Martin and dancing to the fullest. You don't know. I'm here to say from you want investment, development, and good education for the kids. Me have to big up NRP. You don't know. Smartin, representing for the NRP massive. Love yourself, believe in yourself. You're very important. Hashtag NRP a big deal. Alright, listen up. VIP, NRP, them a VIP. Nevis and Nevisions, them a VIP. Ask anybody, NRP is a big deal. Nevis people a big deal. Okay, very, very, very important. Important for it. NRP is a big deal. Youth education is a big deal. Okay, very, very, very important. Important for it. This has nothing to do with money or fame or vanity. This one is all for Nevis' worth. So big up your chest if you love the land of your birth, cause NRP will give you maximum effort. So whether you walk or you a drive car, it no matter if you're white or black like Tara, NRP vibes is to uplift your star. Push up on the one and tell all the haters.
Good evening. Welcome once again to another edition of our Tell Me program. And this another Thursday evening coming to you from here in Pines. Trust that you would have had a good week last week and that everything went well for you. And as we think of this, we think of the people in Texas and the surrounding areas who are going through difficulties at this time because of Hurricane Harvey and all that goes along with that. Our heart goes out to them. Trust that very soon the water will recede and that they will be able to work towards getting back to normalization once again. And even as we think of Texas, there is a storm brewing heading towards our area, and it's for us to take all the precaution that we can, follow the advisory that is given, and to make sure that we do what we can do to keep ourselves as safe as possible during these times. And then we come on the home front as we continue to deal with issues affecting us here in the country. And so we again going to be sharing information with you that we know would help you to make informed decisions as we deal with the political and social climate that's really affecting us at this time. And so please free to sit back, participate, and join us if you possibly can by means of the television, not television at this point, but telephone. And so we're looking forward to have you participating with us. Remember, the program is Tell Me. You tell us, and we will tell the world. Mr. Powell?
Good evening, Tulu. And let me say good evening to all our listeners, wherever you might be. And thank you for joining with us this evening. I'm going to start with that very same storm that you referred to. And Tulu, I was always here and praying that they wouldn't name a storm Irma. My mother's child before me is Irma. And she can be the loveliest person in the world, but when she gets roguey, she is roguey. So plenty. So I was hoping that we would never have a hurricane Irma, even though she spells her name with an E and not with an I. But here we are with Hurricane Irma. Well, is it a hurricane yet? At least it's a system which is coming our way, and I'm told that by the middle of next week it should be with us. It looks a little bit north of us, but it seems to be dipping slightly. And so if it dips too much and comes directly our way, we are going to be in some trouble. So they say Irma is forecast to become a major hurricane by tonight, and is expected to be an extremely dangerous hurricane for the next several days. Hurricane force winds extend up to 15 miles from the center, and tropical storm force winds extend outward up to 80 miles. Based on the extended forecast models, Hurricane Irma is to be in the vicinity of the northern Leeward Islands, which includes us, by the middle of next week. As the system continues to rapidly intensify, it can be expected that the extent of storm force winds and hurricane force winds from the center will increase as well. Therefore, it is important for all of us to continue to monitor the progress of the storm, as it is expected to be an extremely dangerous hurricane and will be near us as a major hurricane. And they said there is some uncertainty as to the exact path of the hurricane and where it will move, but we know for sure that it will be in our vicinity next week. So while you're home looking at the TV and looking at what is happening in Texas, we want you also to be looking at this storm which we have here, and make sure that you're taking every single precaution to protect life and property. So that is what we are telling you about Hurricane Irma. Be safe. Make sure that whatever you are doing, we're in the middle of the hurricane season, so certain things should have been done already. And we don't want you to be caught unprepared. Nevis will not flood as easily as Texas. And even if we have heavy rain, it runs off quickly in most areas because of the topography of Nevis. But we want you to take every single precaution. Don't wait in your house and then say, listen, you're waiting for the rescue people to come to look for you. You know that you have to do things. Tulu, I always am amazed when I hear storm coming and the wind start to blow, and when you look, you see people on top of the roof and they're ponging and they're ponging and they're ponging. If you know the roof was leaking and it needed some attention, do it before. Be prepared. So I am hoping that we will take this one seriously. The kind of language which is used in the forecast, projected to be an extremely dangerous hurricane and things like that, I want you to take them seriously, very seriously, so that we will be prepared whenever this thing comes, if it comes our way. And like I said to you, we are now in September, almost September. We're still in August. But the trouble is that this thing, the season, we are just about in the peak of the season. And so we want you to take every single precaution. Okay? We have told you that, so we want to move on to some other matters. And the first matter I want to look at this evening, you know, we are going to be having the swearing-in ceremony tomorrow for a Deputy Governor General here in Nevis. And we're told that Mrs. Marjorie Morton is that person. Marjorie Morton, of course, is no stranger to public life, having taught for several years at the Charlestown Secondary School. And then, of course, she was a permanent secretary in establishments. And after that, she was the president of the Navy's Island Assembly, which is equivalent to speaker, a position which she left in 2011. And contrary to what some people have been saying, she was not sacked by the NRP administration. She retired. And so she left that position. And now we're told that she has been asked to come back and to serve as the Deputy Governor General here in Nevis in an acting capacity. Looking back at our history, in 1983, Weston Paris, of late and blessed memory, became the first Deputy Governor General for Nevis. And when he died suddenly by drowning, he was replaced by Mr. Eustace John, who himself served his notice early this year and formally retired in April of this year. Between 1983 and the present, Nevis has never appointed an acting Deputy Governor General, to the best of my memory. Maybe somebody can tell me differently, but to the best of my memory, we have never appointed an acting Deputy Governor General. We are doing so, and curiously in this instance, the position will be accepted by Mrs. Marjorie Morton until the end of December 2017. So the position itself is vacant because Mr. Eustace John served his notice in January or February, officially retired in April, and from April until now, let us help you count the months: May, June, July, August, 4 months. And having served his notice in January or February of this year, so you add another 3 months, 7 months. The CCM administration, as usual in their bungling style, were not prepared to fill the position of Deputy Governor General. And the asinine statement that was issued by the government is that the Governor General can sign all documents which are related and relevant to Nevis. It is a true statement. But if that is the case, and if they knew that they were happy with that position, why is it in 1983, when Simeon Daniel and the NRP soldiers insisted on a Deputy Governor General for Nevis, CCM didn't come out and make a statement and say, no, save some money, because the Governor General can sign all documents for Nevis, so we don't need anybody in Nevis? Why is it that for 19 of the years they have been in office, they have ensured, except for this year, that the position in Nevis was always filled? But the more troubling question is, why is it that the position has been vacant since April and they have not sought to fill this position until suddenly somebody said to them, independence is coming and we need somebody to take the salute? So since you need somebody to take the salute, you have two choices. Either A, the Governor General from St. Kitts will come over, or B, you can try something and have Michael Morton, who normally acts as Governor General's deputy, come to Nevis, if that were possible, and take the salute in Nevis. Swear him in as the acting Deputy Governor General for Nevis. Or C, get somebody to fill the post. And this is where it becomes a little bit troubling for me. When you look around all of Nevis, you can't find anybody who would want to fill the post as Deputy Governor General on a medium-term or long-term basis. You mean for all the bright people that we have in Nevis, all the bright Nevisians that we have around the world, you can't convince one of them to come home and serve their country? My own preference, of course, would be somebody who is here. But any Nevisian is a Nevisian. So we are come now to the end of August, and we are now hearing that we are going to have a Deputy Governor General in an acting capacity, and that person will be appointed to act for 4 months. The post is vacant, but we are going to have somebody who will act for 4 months. And then it was done so secretly and so hurriedly. I put up a post this week because I heard that we were going to swear in somebody. And then a day after I put up the post, I was in Charlestown, and a very pleasant young man driving a government vehicle stopped his vehicle in front of mine, came out, walked up to me, and quite politely handed me an invitation, which invited me to come to the courthouse tomorrow morning, Friday at 11, so that I could be present at the swearing-in ceremony. I mean, 2 days' notice. My whole schedule this week is already booked. I got things to do. And then now, suddenly, after I had put up a post about a very private public swearing-in ceremony of an individual at that time unknown and unnamed, they handed me an invitation to come down to the courthouse tomorrow, because I am at their bidding. Whenever they say I must come to something, no matter what short notice, I must come. I have absolute regard, good regards and love for Mrs. Marjorie Morton. But I hope to God that Mrs. Morton, with all her knowledge of protocol, was not a part of this rubbish where the opposition in Nevis is getting an invitation to come to an official swearing-in ceremony with 2 days' notice. I mean, that is the greatest disrespect you could think about. Tulu?
So, Paul, unfortunately, it's only this evening, I think it was perhaps after 5 minutes to 6, when I was told by someone that there will be the swearing-in ceremony tomorrow. Well, I didn't got it like it was tomorrow. I thought it was something that happened today. That there is a governor general to replace Mr. John. And I asked, what are you talking about? And the person said, yes, Marjorie Morton is sworn in. That's why I got it, as the Deputy Governor General for Nevis. And immediately I said to the person, well, I congratulate Mrs. Morton. She has served Nevis well, and you would have chronicled her the areas in which she worked. And so we will have to go through that again. But it's a person who I love and I respect very deeply. And I remember at one point when she was the president of our parliament, I asked her a particular question which was somewhat a little political in nature, but I wanted to get an answer to a question that was boggling my mind. And she politely says to me, Mr. Weeks, you understand what position I hold? I said, yes. He said, well, I cannot respond to your question. And I respected that, and that is something in my mind ever since, that I learned from that, not to ask person certain position questions. And so I want to thank her that even at this time, and it is interim, that again, she loves her country so much that she is willing to accept this interim appointment, and hoping that it will become, after December, it will be made permanent. You know, I think she's a fitting person for that. But Mr. Paul, you said something that intrigues me, because when you indicated that the government of Nevis indicated to the world that the Governor General in St. Kitts School signed off on documents for Nevis, and so basically there was no rush to get a Deputy Governor General for Nevis. I'm troubled, because here we have a situation back in 1983 where we were given a government for Nevis, a Nevis Island administration, to deal with the affairs of Nevis. And all these years later, Van Samuel, the Premier of Nevis, would have rolled back for some time the importance of a Deputy Governor General for Nevis, citing that it is okay because we have a governor, a federal governor. And so that is a slap in the face of Nevis and walking back people backward. But I'm not surprised because Van Samuel got back into office and Van Samuel seems to have in his mind that Nevis again is a local council. And so he's running Nevis like a local council. And so everything is back to St. Kitts. It's amazing that he hasn't said to us that we need to go back to St. Kitts to start getting birth certificates and marriage certificates and whatever certificates we need.
But the cheaper in St. Kitts, is $5 in St. Kitts, is $10 in Nevis.
Whether it's cheaper in St. Kitts. But since everything, they say we must look to St. Kitts for employment. They said to us that if things are not going on in Nevis, we are not progressing in Nevis, don't feel bad because there's progression in St. Kitts. Now they says to us that if you do not have a Deputy Governor General, do not worry, there's the Governor General in St. Kitts. So we are going back, everything backward, and we're not making no progress. And so let me say thank you, Mrs. Morton, once again for responding to the call to serve the island of Nevis, the people of Nevis, and let me say thank you once again. You did tremendously before, and I think the highest thing that she would have done to the country, for the country, Mr. Powell, is being an educator, because education doesn't stop. And so I want to thank her that she will find it necessary to act in this role at this time. And like I said, I hope that it will become a permanent appointment sometime in the future. Thank you, Mrs. Morton, for your past service to the country. And thank you again, wholeheartedly, for taking up the challenge at this time in a situation that was left void for so long. And the Premier of Nevis seems to was not too interested in getting something done. And so I'm happy that you have answered the call. Thank you.
You see, I have no challenges, absolutely no challenges with Mrs. Morton. None whatsoever. I want people to understand that. Lovely lady. Very competent. I have a problem with the way that this backward CCM government goes about its business. I mean, a Governor General is serving the whole population. The deputy is serving the entire population. The Deputy Governor General has responsibility for the island of Nevis, of course, answering to the Governor General in St. Kitts. But the way how this secretive, backhanded, backward CCM government goes about its business is a cause for concern. Mrs. Morton, I wish you all the best in your short-term employment as Deputy Governor General. I wish you all the best, and I hope that you will function as you always do, with the greatest level of experience, and that you will do your job for the country as you have always done. Good luck to you, my good lady. Let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to have a couple of other issues to talk to you about. Tulu, the schools should be reopening on Monday. Construction is still happening at a lot of the schools. We're going to talk about that when we come back, and a couple more issues. Back after this.
You are listening to Choice Community Radio 105.3 FM, your community station.
Seabridge SKN announces their daily schedule between St. Kitts and Nevis. The boat departs Nevis at 7 a.m., 9 a.m., 11 a.m., 1, 3, and 6 p.m. That's 7 a.m., 9 a.m., 11 a.m., 1, 3, and 6 p.m. The boat leaves St. Kitts at 8 a.m., 10 a.m., 12 noon, 2, 4, and 7 p.m. That's leaving St. Kitts at 8 a.m., 10 a.m., 12 noon, 2, 4, and 7 p.m. Seabridge SKN, bridging the gap.
Don't leave me, girl. Hi, this is Garlic, and listen to Choice Community Radio Station 105.3, 105.5, your community radio station. Keep it locked, 'cause this is the station I listen to all the time.
Yeah, my name is Chris Martin and dancing to the fullest. You don't know. I'm here say from you want investment, development and good education for the kids. Me have to big up NRP. You don't know. Smartin representing for the NRP massive. Love yourself, believe in yourself. You're very important. Hashtag NRP a big deal. Alright, listen up. VIP. NRP, them a VIP. Nevis and Navisions, them a VIP. Ask anybody, NRP is a big deal. Nevis people a big deal. Okay, very, very, very important. Important for it. NRP is a big deal. Youth education is a big deal. Okay, very, very, very important. Important for it. This has nothing to do with money or fame or vanity. This one is all for Nevis' worth. So big up your chest if you love the land of your birth, cause NRP will give you maximum effort. So whether you walk or you a drive car, no matter if you're white or black like Tara, NRP vibes is to uplift your star. Push up on the one and tell all the haters we a big deal. NRP is a big deal. Youth education is very important. Important for it. NRP is a big deal. Nevis people a big deal. Okay, very, very, very important. Important for it. NRP, easy. Yeah, my name is Chris Martin and dancing to the fullest. You don't know. I'm here say from you want investment, development and good education for the kids. Me have to big up NRP. You don't know. Smartin representing for the NRP massive. Love yourself, believe in yourself. You're very important. Hashtag NRP a big deal. Alright, listen up. VIP. NRP, them a VIP. Nevis and Navisions, them a VIP. Ask anybody, NRP is a big deal. Nevis people a big deal. Okay, very, very, very important. Important for it. NRP is a big deal. Youth education is a big deal. Okay, very, very, very important. Important for it. This has nothing to do with money or fame or vanity. This one is all for Nevis' worth. So big up your chest if you love the land of your birth, cause NRP will give you maximum effort. So whether you walk or you a drive car, no matter if you're white or black like Tara, NRP vibes is to uplift your star.
Good evening and welcome back to Tell Me. And want to say good evening to Andrea in New York. Hope you're listening. And Andrea in Washington. Hope you're also tuned in and listening. Susie, how are you tonight? Labor Day is coming up, and to all my friends in the United States of America, I hope that you have a very peaceful Labor Day and that you enjoy whatever fun and merriment is about, but you stay safe and you keep out of trouble. Tulu, school has been on vacation now for all of these past 7 or 8 weeks, and we know the way that this government operates. For the benefit of the public, we should say to you that after exams, in some of the schools, especially the high schools, half of the children don't even bother go to school anyway. Here in Nevis, we have a situation where schools went on vacation, the government went on vacation, and for a period of time, nothing happened. And then there was some action. They gave out to their friends and family members, in some cases, contracts to do work at some of the schools. And in Gingerland, without having discussed it with anybody, it seemed like very few people know about it. They went in and they broke down the headmaster's office, and I'm told that some toilets that were there, which were fairly new, they just broke them down and decided, listen, this is the way to go. And so with school reopening now, the work at Gingerland may not finish. The work at Charlestown Secondary will not finish. The work at the preschool in Gingerland will not finish. And I'm told that there are some other schools where the work might not finish. Couple things you are sure about. When school closed in June, or July, whenever it was, everybody knew what date school would reopen, except CCM, except the government of the island of Nevis. Because if they knew when school would reopen, I am sure that they would have been able to make a decision. And just like they have 2 contractors on the hospital, they could have had 2 contractors on some of these jobs to make sure that our schools reopen on time. I like the American system. In the American system, they have a certain number of instruction days. These are days when you have to teach the children. In St. Kitts and Nevis, and in Nevis in particular, this government don't care. You get a half day for every and anything. And not only that, you might be told very soon that we know that school is supposed to reopen on the 5th of September. But because of ongoing works at the school, children take another week off, take another 2 weeks off. So at the start of the term, you could potentially lose a minimum of 5 to 10 instruction days. But the children are still supposed to, they're expected to cover the same subject areas and finish the syllabus and all kind of things. When the government is at fault from the beginning, the work at Charlestown, Tulu, will it finish on time?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. If school even is delayed for 2 weeks, it will not finish. And so, but the thing for me, Mr. Powell, is the Minister of Culture to get the cultural complex ready for fun and for entertainment, as it were, told us that he had 14 contractors working on the complex to get it ready for Culturama. Here, when it comes to education, the Minister of Education, who is the Premier of Nevis, is so out of whack. This is the man who would have said to us, to the people of Nevis, you do not need any education. All you need to do is to love your country. And it seems as if that he means it up to this present moment. And so education to him perhaps is not important. And so you would have started these projects, and I want to suggest to you that these projects was nothing in the plan for the government. Let me ask you this question, Mr. Powell. When we had the last budget session for Nevis, did the government give any indication to the people that they were going to do all these massive renovation that they're now doing in the last couple of months?
In terms of the schools?
In terms of the schools.
The Minister of Work, Mr. Troy Labour, did speak about these matters. But he didn't speak about the extent. Tulio made a very valid point. To get the Culturama village ready to wine and walk up and watless up yourself for Culturama, they said they had 14 contractors.
14 contractors.
To get the Charlestown Secondary School ready for the education of our children, they ain't bother with 14 contractors.
But they have one, and the one is tied to who?
The one is the father of the Minister of Communications and Works.
So if you hire 14 contractors, the money will have to be spent across
14 ways.
14 ways. Now you keep one, it's only one way to send the family. Now, I asked that question, but here's another thing. If the government had indicated back then that they're going to do these, and you know that you have this extensive renovation that you wanted to do, or addition, why they did not start the process as soon as exams were over?
That is the point that I made.
Because when exams were over, you know that roughly up to almost 90% of the students will not be in school. They're not going anyhow. Those are the time exams are over, so those are the time you could have said to them, listen, there's no need for the student to come to school because there was hardly any instructions going on at that time. And so you start your process from there, so you plan for that. And then you come full circle. Perhaps if they had done that at this stage, they might have been close to completion or completing and some of these things that they're doing. But again, when you have leadership who doesn't have any vision, when you have a leadership that runs on bad mind, when you have leaderships only do things to try to make themselves look good, this is what we're going to have. And so school is going to begin on Monday. And either some of these constructions will have to be placed on hold, or construction will be going on when students are in school to disrupt some of the what's going on there, or they're going to stop it. I don't know what they're going to do. But listen, those construction will not continue. The bathroom that they destroyed up at the Gingerland Secondary School, Mr. Powell, there's a bathroom that was built, and I question it. It was built under Van Samuel administration in his last term that he had. And the reason for knocking them down at this point, you have the office working on, you're already behind. Leave the bathrooms, complete the office area, and leave the bathroom for another phase then. You go in there and you try to do all of these things. I think they have 3 different things going on there at the school at the same time. Careful planning. These could have been phased out over a period of time. The bathrooms could have stayed until next year. You are correct. The toilets in those bathrooms, most of them, especially in the girls' bathroom, were fairly new. I was in charge of putting them inside there. So I know they was not old. And then just to discard, to sell, to give away, we are told that some of the galvanized from down in the complex when they were doing the renovation, they just went walking, giving away to whoever wanted them. And all sort of confusion up there was not galvanized, it was felt. And so not was there to give away. What happened to the toilet, what happened to the face basins, that was there. Again, they were fairly new. Would they discard them? Did they give them away? Did they throw them away? I don't know. But it is sad that we're going to be beginning a new school term, and some of the students will not be able to start the school term on time, or they'll be going into a term beginning where construction will be going on around them. That is very, very unfortunate, Mr. Powell.
Well, CCM always does this. This is not the first time that school will be starting, and then you hear, no, take a break.
I think last time it happened the beginning of last time, right? Put that for a week or something like that.
Tulu, what about the parents? The parents have had these children. It's their own children, yes, but they've had them for 8 weeks with careful planning. Some parents actually set out a plan, they know what they're going to be doing with their children. And then when the plan is supposed to come to an end and people going back to work, some parents take vacation, they're going back to work. All of a sudden, you have 2 and 3 and 4 children. What are you going to do with them when you hear that, listen, these couple will not be going to school, these set here will not be going to school? It is a lot of bother. But then again, this is the way that CCM does business. Tulu, you see, just here looking at the hurricane. They said that this hurricane is supposed to be a Category 4 hurricane very soon.
Yes.
It is a serious weather system that we are talking about. And so I want people to be prepared for this system. It is still looking a little bit north of us, but I want people to be ready for this system whenever it comes. So that is that. We're going to take another break. When we come back, we want to be talking to you about a couple of other things, including, you see, this marijuana thing. There are some people out there who are saying that the Nevis Island administration has no right to pass any laws with respect to marijuana. Patrice Nisbet spoke to this some time ago, very early in the year. And it is just like some hard-headed people who spoke about the geothermal thing and said Nevis didn't have any right to do anything with respect to geothermal. It was a federal matter. Well, when we come back, we are going to hear Patrice talking about this very same thing as it relates to marijuana. Back after this.
Choice 105.3 FM.
Seabridge SKN announces their daily schedule between St. Kitts and Nevis. The boat departs Nevis at 7 a.m., 9 a.m., 11 a.m., 1, 3, and 6 p.m. That's 7 a.m., 9 a.m., 11 a.m., 1, 3, and 6 p.m. The boat leaves St. Kitts at 8 a.m., 10 a.m., 12 noon, 2, 4, and 7 p.m. That's leaving St. Kitts at 8 a.m., 10 a.m., 12 noon, 2, 4, and 7 p.m. Seabridge SKN, bridging the gap.
Yeah, my name is Chris Martin and dancing to the fullest. You don't know. I'm here from you want investment, development, and good education for the kids. Me have to big up NRP. You don't know. Smartin, representing for the NRP massive. Love yourself, believe in yourself. You're very important. Hashtag NRP a big deal. Alright, listen up. VIP, NRP, them a VIP. Nevis and Nevisions, them a VIP. Ask anybody, NRP is a big deal. Nevis people a big deal. Okay, very, very, very important. Important for it. NRP is a big deal. Youth education is a big deal. Okay, very, very, very important. Important for it. This has nothing to do with money or fame or vanity. This one is all for Nevis' worth. So big up your chest if you love the land of your birth, cause NRP will give you maximum effort. So whether you walk or you a drive car, no matter if you're white or black like tar, NRP vibes is to uplift your star. Push up on the one and tell all the haters we a big deal. NRP is a big deal. Youth education is very important. Important for it. NRP is a big deal. Nevis people a big deal. Okay, very, very, very important. Important for it. NRP, easy. Yeah, my name is Chris Martin and dancing to the fullest. You don't know. I'm here from you want investment, development, and good education for the kids. Me have to big up NRP. You don't know. Smartin, representing for the NRP massive. Love yourself, believe in yourself. You're very important. Hashtag NRP a big deal. Alright, listen up. VIP, NRP, them a VIP. Nevis and Nevisions, them a VIP. Ask anybody, NRP is a big deal. Nevis people a big deal. Okay, very, very, very important.
Thank you very much and welcome back. I'm told, Tulu, that at CSS they said they were waiting for the frame for the building. Construction was supposed to start some 2 or 3 weeks before school closed. But when did they order the frame for the building? And did they order the frame as if they're ordering some bread from down by Sean Bakery? And so you just go outside and pick up the bread? We don't make those frames in Nevis, so they had to come from overseas. When did you place the order? Did you have any kind of leeway, any lead time built in, so that you know that when they come to Nevis, you are going to be ready to start at the time when you state? Listen, I'm afraid the CCM government, boy, they like to do things backwards.
But there were preparation works that are necessary for the frames. So
True.
why not go ahead and do the preparation, have it in place? So when the frames came, then the preparation is already there. You just put them in place.
Exactly.
And move forward. You wait until the frames, they've got dig foundation and to do this and to do that. What happened to the drawings? This is something... I am convinced that what is taking place now is designed to say to the people of Nevis, vote for us based on our performance because we're doing something. This has nothing to do with because they care about the school, they care about students, they care about education. This has everything to do with they are trying to win an election. Okay, it's all about winning a vote. Has nothing to do with the students. If they had an interest in students, Mr. Powell, and they really wanted our students to learn, would they have stopped the homework assistance program that was designed to help the weaker students? If you're interested in education, you'd have been pumping money into that. So you can put people in a greater facility. But you have not prepared them for the facility. The preparation work is important. We are told that a significant amount still of our students are leaving school and have struggled reading. I have my own struggles, but some of them seems to be worse than I am. The world has changed so much now that you almost need subjects to get into anything that you want to do. Even to work at solid waste now, you have to get something to go in there to work there. And so it is important that we build the framework for the students. That's why Mark Brantley need to, and that money after 10 years supposed to get a significant amount of interest, because he says 10 years ago he had $1 million, $1 million in the bank fixed deposit over all these years, supposed to almost reach now $20 million, $10 million.
Plenty money.
Plenty money. And so he need to take the people's money and put the people's money back into education. As a matter of fact, it was not given for building schools and buying this and what's not. It was to help the children with their computer, their books, their bags, their tutoring and whatever, to get them up to speed. And he has the money. But this is not about that. This is about buying a vote.
We're going to come back to some of the shortcomings of this backward politician, the most incompetent minister Nevis has ever had.
And will ever
have. But we're going to be talking some weed right now. Ganja, marijuana, whatever you want to call it. The herb. Because it is a subject which the Nevis Reformation Party has embraced, the decriminalization of marijuana. And we've been speaking about this matter for more than a year. Not only speaking about this matter, but we have gone to the extent of putting on town hall meetings. And we had 2 town hall meetings here in Charlestown. We've been on the radio numerous times discussing the whole idea of the decriminalization of marijuana. We've been on the radio with a press conference earlier this week to discuss again the decriminalization of marijuana. And the Nevis Reformation Party has given its commitment that this is something that will be done by Nevis once we are elected to form the government in Nevis. After the next election. We are hearing from some misguided people that it is impossible for Nevis to decriminalize marijuana. And I'm saying to all the people who want to listen that it is very possible because the Constitution makes it possible for us to do so. I'm also saying to every single person who are hedging their bets and doubting, not because they themselves want to doubt, but because they have been told by CCM that perhaps it is not possible. We're saying to all of the people that not only is it possible, but it will be done by the Nevis Reformation Party. And you see, this is something which we are not doing because we think that you might get 1 vote from it. We are doing it because the rest of the world is doing it. And Nevis is a leader in that respect. When Canada, the United States of America, islands here in the Caribbean can decide that this is the way to go, and we have people here in Nevis who are suggesting that we must continue to lock up our young men and our young women because they are caught with a spliff, we are saying to you, that must done. Got to done. We are beyond that now. And we are saying to you that Nevis has the legal right to ensure that marijuana is decriminalized. We have the constitutional right to do so. But don't let me just speak to you. Perhaps it would be better if you would hear it from a lawyer. And it would be better if you were to hear it from somebody who served as the Attorney General in the federal government of St. Kitts and Nevis. So listen to this.
I understand that there's some talk going around about the Nevis Reformation Party on its stance on the issue of marijuana, cannabis sativa. Mr. Crozier, I would want, first of all, to ask the people of the country, what is marijuana? What is marijuana? And I've listened to a lot of the debate, and I've listened to a lot of the discussion, and people tell me that marijuana is a tree. It's a plant. And it occurs naturally in the environment. As a matter of fact, some people claim that it is in the Bible. And some people say that it can grow widely or you can cultivate it. That's what they say to me. And I would want to ask the question to say, when you grow crops, what are you engaging in? Of course, of course. You two gentlemen over there, you know better than I. After I heard a rant on the radio by some gentleman about the Nevis Reformation Party's position on marijuana. And so this afternoon I want to address that rant in my opening salvo. Because I want our people to be educated. And I want our people to understand that just like how some people can rant, I can rant too. But I will rant in an intelligent manner. And I will rant on a proper footing. So we have established that once you grow any crop in this country, you're engaged in the practice of agriculture. That's what we have established so far. And so I will now take you to section 37 of the Constitution Order here in St. Christopher and Nevis. And I want to read just a couple lines of that section. Section 37(2) of the Constitution. This is what it reads. It reads, save as otherwise provided in subsections 3 and 4, the power of Parliament, and Parliament here means the National Assembly, to make laws having effect in the island of Nevis shall not extend to any of the specified matters. That is to say, matters with respect to which the Nevis Island legislature has exclusive power to make laws so having effect. And so let us go down to section 119 of the Constitution. And it says, specified matter means in relation to the government of the island of Nevis, a matter specified in Schedule 5 to this Constitution. And let us go to Schedule 5. Schedule 5 of the Constitution says, matters with respect to which the Nevis Island legislature has exclusive power to make law. And the matter, first of all, the primary matter, it says, is agriculture. That's the first matter. That the Nevis Island legislature has legislative competence. It has legislative competence to make law. Schedule 5, not Section 5. It has legislative competence to make laws in relation to agriculture. So therefore, if the Nevis Island administration has power to make laws in relation to agriculture, doesn't it have legislative competence to make laws in relation to the growing of cannabis, sativa, or marijuana, whichever one you want to call it? And I say so. It is the Constitution says so. So when you hear some people talking and saying that the Nevis Island island legislature has no authority to make laws in relation to marijuana, it is nonsense. It is not, that argument is not based on no constitutional theory and no constitutional provisions. Because I have just demonstrated to you in a simplified way the legislative competence of the Nevis Island administration to make laws in relation to agriculture. And let me say this. The Dangerous Drug Act does basically two things. It makes the cultivation of marijuana illegal, and it makes the possession of marijuana illegal. But the Nevis Island administration under the Nevis Island legislature under our constitution has exclusive lawmaking power to say what can grow in Nevis. It has exclusive lawmaking power in relation to agricultural matters. And the growing of any tree, any crop, is an agricultural matter. And so this notion about it has to come, this legislation for the decriminalization of marijuana has to come from the federal government is nonsense. Because it does not align with the constitutional provisions that exist in the St. Christopher Nevis Constitutional Order. Does not align with that. And so if the Nevis Reformation Party get in power tomorrow and they want to make a law to say what grows in Nevis, what agriculture takes place in Nevis, they can do so. And they will be able to find constitutional shelter. Because agriculture is one of the specified matters that the Nevis Island administration has exclusive legislative competence within which to pass. It is within their domain. Some people read certain parts of the Constitution, but they don't read other parts. I read most parts. So, I am saying this afternoon, the argument and the discussion I've heard this week about Nevis don't have power to make laws in relation to marijuana. Nevis can't decriminalize marijuana. That is nonsense. And so, those who are listening out there, tell Mark Brantley I say so. I was an Attorney General, he was never one. And so when I talk with a sense of authority on the matter. Maybe he would like to be one, but he's only been his name and his initials. Not in reality. So my dear people, I want to say to you this afternoon that all this talk that you see on Facebook, all this talk that you hear, I think the Prime Minister said so in a town hall meeting in St. Kitts recently, that Nevis can't do nothing, and so whatever NRP is saying don't make no sense. But I am saying to you this afternoon, once you read the Constitution, and you read it well and you understand it, you would realize that the growing of marijuana is agriculture. The cultivation of marijuana is an agricultural practice. And we can pass laws in relation to say what grows in Nevis from what don't grow here. That is the local jurisdiction. That is the power the Constitution gives to the Nevis Island legislature. And I also want them to go further to say, because maybe they might say, you can grow the plant, but you can't do nothing with it. So what is it? You can grow an apple tree and you can't eat it? I want to submit this afternoon that it is axiomatic. Once you can legislate for it to grow, you can also regulate the agricultural product. Goes without saying. Because when you read in Schedule 5, it goes on to say, listen, that in the specified matter, you can do any matter that is incidental or supplementary to any matter referred to in this list. Which means in the schedule, references to incidental and supplementary matters include, without prejudice to their generality, offenses, the jurisdiction, power, and the other things that are stated right there. And so, once you pass the law, you can make incidental and supplementary provisions to govern the regulation of that particular product that you are legislating in respect of. But you know, having regard to the fact that some people are boxed in, Because the Premier has already made a pronouncement, and he is a part of that administration, and the Prime Minister has already made an announcement, and he's a part of that government. He doesn't know where he stands. And so instead of saying clearly to the people what is its true legal position, he has come out with a red herring. So as to throw cold water on the platform of the Nevis Reformation Party. The Nevis Reformation Party must be applauded for taking a stance on this issue of marijuana. They have given their reasons. But they have not given their reasons. Instead, what they have simply come to the people and say, don't study NRP because NRP can't do nothing legislatively about marijuana. But I have come this afternoon and I've demonstrated to you that
Thank you and welcome back. So if you had any doubts and you have a constitution for St. Kitts and Nevis, go read it up. And you would see that Nevis does have the legislative competence. And if you read all of that and you find that NRP is in office and there is still resistance out of Bastille as to whether or not Nevis can decriminalize marijuana, because according to what I'm hearing some people say now, it will be the same police force in St. Kitts where they will be saying, sorry, marijuana is not decriminalized in St. Kitts, so they would lock you up if you have a spliff in St. Kitts. So they will have to do the same thing in Nevis and lock you up in Nevis. We're saying to you that that is utter rubbish. Because the states that went their separate ways from the federal statute in America, the federal government didn't run after the people in those states. No, they didn't. But you see, in the Constitution of St. Kitts and Nevis, we also have a special provision that we call 113. That is what people call the secession clause. And it is a clause which some people speak about but don't read. And I'm saying to you quite clearly that if there is an NRP government in office and there is a federal government in St. Kitts with Mark and Vance in it, and who decide that, look, listen, the NRP is decriminalizing marijuana and we're going to stop them, there is absolutely nothing stopping the people of Nevis and the government of Nevis from invoking 113 in the Constitution and saying, listen, anytime you interfere in the affairs of Nevis and try to control us from St. Kitts, we're going to say to you, we are ready to go our separate ways. Is as serious as that. We'll take a break and we'll come back with you to start our second hour and tell me back after this.
You're listening to Choice Community Radio 105.3 FM, your community station.
Seabridge SKN announces their daily schedule between St. Kitts and Nevis. The boat departs Nevis at 7 a.m., 9 a.m., 11 a.m., 1, 3, and 6 p.m. That's 7 a.m., 9 a.m., 11 a.m., 1, 3, and 6 p.m. The boat leaves St. Kitts at 8 a.m., 10 a.m., 12 noon, 2, 4, and 7 p.m. That's leaving St. Kitts at 8 a.m., 10 a.m., 12 noon, 2, 4, and 7 p.m. Seabridge SKN, bridging the gap.
Yeah, my name is Chris Martin and dancing to the fullest. You don't know. I'm here to say from you want investment, development, and good education for the kids. Me have to big up NRP. You don't know. Smartin, representing for the NRP massive. Love yourself, believe in yourself. You're very important. Hashtag NRP a big deal. Alright, listen up. VIP. NRP, them a VIP. Nevis and Nevisions, them a VIP. Ask anybody, NRP is a big deal. Nevis people a big deal. Okay, very, very, very important. Important for it. NRP is a big deal. Youth education is a big deal. Okay, very, very, very important. Important for it. This has nothing to do do with money or fame or vanity. This one is all for Nevis' worth. So big up your chest if you love the land of your birth, cause NRP will give you maximum effort. So whether you walk or you a drive car, it no matter if you're white or black like Tara, NRP vibes is to uplift your star. Push up on the one and tell all the haters we a big deal. NRP is a big deal. Youth education is very important, important for it. NRP is a big deal. Nevis people a big deal. Okay, very, very, very important, important for it. NRP, easy.
Thank you very much, and welcome back to Tell Me, where we're in the final hour. Last week, we did a piece which was written by Sam Keynes, and it seems to me as if we might be able to give you one piece every week, because Sam Keynes continues to write some brilliant pieces on Facebook. So I'm going to read you a piece which he posted this week, so that those of you who were not able to read it on Facebook and who didn't get it by WhatsApp could get an understanding of what he wrote. But even before I go there, I want to say a happy belated 81st birthday to Mr. Uriel Swanston, who turned 81 yesterday. And I saw Swanee, I think he was on Sunday, still looking as sharp as ever. His brain is as sharp as ever. And I want to say to you, Mr. Swanston, if you are listening, I hope you had a very good birthday. And that there were so many greetings, because I sent out greetings and I put it on blast. And there were so many people who responded to say, tell Mr. Swanston, and with all kinds of messages, that I was only able to forward maybe about 20 to his daughter, Irv. Swanee, the number that I have for you is not working. So I requested that Irv give me your correct number. I'm still waiting. I didn't get it from her yesterday, so I was not able to call you yesterday to wish you happy 81st birthday. And so I hope, as I said, that you are doing well. You did look well on Sunday when I saw you. And Swanee is one of those persons who has done a tremendous amount of work for this island we call Nevis. And you see all these 30 years that Vance has been playing the fool in Gingerland. If Swanee had 5 of those years, Gingerland would have been totally different.
That is absolute truth. And it's not only for the island of Nevis, it's for the people of St. Kitts, especially those in the St. Paul's area. They need to get to know Mr. Swanson and to find out what he did for them. Because when the PAM government wanted them to remain basically in darkness, it's Mr. Swanson who took the bull by the hand and made sure that they were removed from the darkness and that electricity was in that particular area of St. Kitts. And you only have to speak to him about that. But his sacrifice on Nevis, Mr. Bond, when you think about this, Van Sammy just this year went up to the playing field at halftime to do something to the field. That field was purchased under Uriel Swanston, started under Uriel Swanston, and Van Sammy spent 14 years in office and did absolutely nothing to the field. Corey and the NRP said that had he won the election gone, this is what I'm going to do to the field. Vance Amri find out to take Corey's idea and to run to do something. The same thing that he spoke about doing something for a cafeteria for the school, and he ran and he did something again. You see how far he built a cafeteria from the school? When rain started to fall, where the children going to shelter under the cloud to get onto the cafeteria for the lunch. But put that aside, because we are Mr. Swanson. Mr. Swanson did a tremendous amount of work for Gingerland. And Vance Amri sat in government for 14 years and did nothing to carry on. Vance Amri didn't realize that the baton was passed from Mr. Swanson to him by the people of Gingerland by the people of Nevis in extension for him to pick up and to run with. He allowed everything to fall flat. And now, in an election year, he gone up, do a little thing on the field, fence it up, and you must vote for me in office and my party in office because I did this. The same thing we had in Brownhill. The land for the field was purchased by NRP. I remember we went down there at some point to try to clean up that field, to make preparation for it. We lost the election. And Van Samuel sat down in Nevis for 14 years, did absolutely nothing. NRP had to come back in and do something to get it going. And so, Mr. Swanson, I know that you had a good birthday. I'm happy to hear that you're back in the Federation. I'm looking forward for us to meet again, to talk and to have the good vibes that we normally have together. And so, again, thank you for your contribution towards Nevis. And you're still making a valuable contribution. It can be seen, not only in Nevis, but it can be seen and felt also in St. Kitts. Thank you, sir.
Let me read this piece by Sam Keynes. Facebook asks me what is on my mind, and here is my response to Facebook. I hope that all NRP supporters have launched Operation Secure the Vote. My friend Tedo Daniel said, quote, "Bad governments are elected by good citizens who do not vote." This is very true, and NRP supporters as well as the economy of Nevis are currently suffering because in 2013, many NRP supporters did not vote. Many NRP supporters made themselves victims of dishonest persuasion. They listened and yielded to what sounded glorious and appeared glossy from the opposition. But almost 5 years later, they have waited in vain for the delivery of what has turned out to be false promises. In life, we all make mistakes, but there is almost always an opportunity for redemption, and that opportunity is only a few months away. You will not allow anybody to deceive you a second time, as you will go out in your numbers and vote overwhelmingly for the NRP. I am very empathetic with NRP supporters in St. John's in particular, who voted for the sheriff in 2013. He had never been in government prior to that year, so he had no track record on which one could have assessed him. His claim, therefore, was purely aspirational. Today, you have his track record before you on which you can assess his performance. And clearly, when one compares his performance to his promises, one can only conclude that his performance is evidently dismal. I am sure that some of you have spoken to CCM supporters, and many of them, even some hardcore CCM supporters, are disenchanted and disaffected. After the apparent unity and camaraderie in the CCM camp in 2013, and all the smooth talk and grand promises, many CCM supporters have said that not even in their wildest imaginations would they have pictured such disarray within the CCM executive, where each minister appears to do his own thing, and there is a complete lack of organization and structure. Never in their wildest imaginations would they have thought that after almost 5 years, their party would not have delivered on the grand promises of the 2013 campaign. Never in their wildest imaginations would they have thought that their party would have been coming back to them with a host of insignificant achievements, given the tone of their campaign in 2013, and expect them to consider those insignificant achievements as grand. So, my dear NRP supporters, the opportunity for the NRP party to be back at the helm of government and continue the good work of growing our economy has been made easy by CCM's remarkable ineptitude. But we have to go out and vote. We have to talk to the disaffected CCM supporters and bring them on board, and we cannot leave it to the NRP executive to do it all. Every single one of us NRP supporters must be a foot soldier. CCM's underperformance may have made it an easy election to win, but we have to go out on polling day and vote for our NRP party. If some of us stay at home and do not vote, once again a bad government will be elected, which will place Nevis further into the mire. I can't add a word to that except amen.
No, you are correct. I'm here listening and I'm saying I am in agreement. I am in agreement. I am in agreement. And that is absolutely clear. And the only thing I will say, a word to the wise, we are told, is enough. And so since it's enough or sufficient, then it's for us, for all the supporters of the Nevis Reformation Party to go out and vote. But not only for the supporters of the Nevis Reformation Party, but those who voted and supported Vance Amri and Mark Brantley, and you has any good in mind for the island of Nevis, and you really want to see Nevis move forward, then you also have no choice but to go out and vote, but to vote against the Concerned Citizens Movement. There's no comparison between the two parties. One was built on empowering the people of Nevis through education, employment, and land ownership. Those three things makes an individual unique, special, but makes an individual empowered. Vance Amri says to the people, you do not need any education. I said that earlier. But then when the Nevis Reformation Party was selling lands for $6,000 for a whole acre, $6,000 for a whole acre of land, Vance Amri told the people of Nevis, don't buy it. It is too expensive. He got into office and then began to sell it for 30-something thousand. So then, you do not need any education to empower yourself. You do not need no land ownership to empower yourself. And then when it comes to employment, Vance Amri says to us as late as last year, Nevians, if you want employment, look towards St. Kitts for employment. Nothing in Nevis to empower you. So you're not going to be empowered by land. You're not going to be empowered by education. You're not going to be empowered by jobs or employment. But that is what the Nevis Reformation Party was built on and strive on. And you don't have to just look to me. When you see Augustine Merchant, just one individual working for Cardi, ask him. I don't have to go to anybody else, but just ask Augustine Merchant what the NRP did, what Simeon Daniel did in particular to get him into that field that he is in. A man with a vision to take his country forward. Ask Mark Brantley what Sim Daniel and the NRP did to empower him to where he is at this time. Champion liar, as tricksy and as conniving and as deceitful and as lying and as wicked as he is. We didn't put that inside of him. But we understand to take Nevis forward, we need minds, we need legal minds. So he's one of the persons that NRP invested in. And the rascal turned around and wanted to bite off the very hand that feed him. The very institution that helped to empower him. He wanted to kill it because he don't want nobody else to be empowered like him. But ask him what NRP did for him. And then I could ask myriads of others. But I'm not going to call a name at this time. But the Nevis Reformation Party did that. We came back in office after 14 years in the wilderness. And we pick up right from where St. Daniel and NRP left them. Because we're NRP. Because again, we believe in the empowering of the people of Nevis. In those two main areas. And Vance Amri and Mark Brantley has a clue. They're not interested in your empowerment. So I'm saying to you as a people, if you really want empowerment, if you really want to see Nevis move forward, again, you have no other choice but the Nevis Reformation Party. Mark came in with a big song and dance that he went down to China and Taiwan. I think he's still in Taiwan now. And he's going to come back in a week time. 100 investors is going to follow him. They're going to pump serious investment in the island. And what going to be all over? You know what we get? Visa-free waiver taken away from us by Canada. Because people must understand that it was shortly after he came and made that bold declaration that 100 persons from Southeast Asia, China and Taiwan is going to come down and going to invest substantially, and they're going to be candidates for the Citizens by Investment Program. Canada said, listen, I'm going to pull the plug. Visa-free waiver from the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis had nothing to do with what the federal government was doing. I believe that he had a whole lot to do, perhaps 95% with that declaration, because it came just after that. And so, people of Nevis, you have heard it from Mr. Keynes. You have seen the performance of both parties. And if you have any morals, any part of you that says within yourself, I must do what is right, I must say what is right, then you will understand and you will clearly say, Van Sammy and Mark Brantley are two failures and there is no hope of them improving, because Amri didn't improve after 14 years and Mark came and joined him, and Mark hasn't taken Vance Amri a step higher. We have gone backward as a country, as an island. And so, Mr. Powell, Mr. Keynes is right. There is no choice. The Nevis Reformation Party supporters must go out and vote. And vote for the Nevis Reformation Party. But the CCM supporters must also turn around and say what is best for Nevis is NRP. And so therefore, we have to put Vance aside. We tried him long enough and he has failed us. We tried Mark, who promised even more than what Van Sammy had promised, and he too has failed us. And so therefore, we have to get rid of them. And also, the ideology of the Concerned Citizens Movement, because you must understand that the Concerned Citizens Movement came in on this ideology that the Nevis Reformation Party was doing too much for the people of Nevis. They not just say it under Joseph Parry's leadership, but it's the very same thing that they said under the Simeon Daniels leadership. Very same thing. They do not want to see people to move forward. As a matter of fact, I was told by somebody who served in the cabinet with Dr. Simeon Daniel that the falling out between Vance and Dr. Daniel is because Dr. Daniel and the Nevis Reformation Party invested sums of money in sending over 20 teachers away, and so that they can come back and study and get bachelor degrees. I would not name him tonight. And Van Sammy was upset to the core, mad to the core, that investment was invested in them. I was told that he even asked for a scholarship for himself. And Dr. Daniel said, no, you has one. These have none. So at least I want a degree in every home in Nevis. And he would have already had one degree. And he was so angry that he was turned down. Not because Dr. Daniel didn't want to give him, but he says, listen, there are others who do not have. So let us bring everybody up on the same level. And from that, begin to hatch something called Concerned Citizens Movement, which was built on a mantra, self, bad-mindedness, and had no good intention for the people of Nevis. And all these days later, from 1985 years old, 1987, until today, the mindset hasn't changed. The empowerment of the people of Nevis is not in the heart and in the mind of the premier. And then you have the deputy who joined him, and he is just as bad-minded and demonic and devilish and selfish, blind, poor in character. And so therefore, we are where we are. People, we have had something to choose from, as Mr. Keynes said. You have made your comparison, and may God help you to make the right decision. If not, hell to tell the priest.
Well, we're going to take another break. And when we come back, we're going to be talking some educational matters again. But this time we're going to be looking at the performance of the schools, etc., and the top students. Back after this.
You're listening to Choice Community Radio, 105.3 and 105.5 FM, your community station.
Seabridge SKN announces their daily schedule between St. Kitts and Nevis. The boat departs Nevis at 7 a.m., 9 a.m., 11 a.m., 1, 3, and 6 p.m. That's 7 a.m., 9 a.m., 11 a.m., 1, 3, and 6 p.m. The boat leaves St. Kitts at 8 a.m., 10 a.m., 12 noon, 2, 4, and 7 p.m. That's leaving St. Kitts at 8 a.m., 10 a.m., 12 noon, 2, 4, and 7 p.m. Seabridge SKN, bridging the gap.
Yeah, my name is Chris Martin and dancing to the fullest. You don't know. I'm here from you want investment, development, and good education for the kids. Me have to big up NRP. You don't know. Smartin, representing for the NRP massive. Love yourself, believe in yourself. You're very important. Hashtag NRP a big deal. Alright, listen up. VIP. NRP, them a VIP. Nevis and Nevisions, them a VIP. Ask anybody, NRP is a big deal. Nevis people a big deal. Okay, very, very, very important. Important for it. NRP is a big deal. Youth education is a big deal. Okay, very, very, very important. Important for it. This has nothing to do with money or fame or vanity. This one is all for Nevis' worth. So big up your chest if you love the land of your birth, cause NRP will give you maximum effort. So whether you walk or you a drive car, no matter if you're white or black like tar, NRP vibes is to uplift your star. Push up on the one and tell all the haters we a big deal. NRP is a big deal. Youth education is very important. Important for it. NRP is a big deal. Nevis people a big deal. Okay, very, very, very important. Important for it. NRP, easy.
Thank you very much, and welcome back to Tell Me, where we have a hurricane which is approaching our area, and we have cricket in the area. So we're hoping that that storm will continue to maybe play with us a little bit, but leave us alone, because we really can't take hurricanes. We can take some rain, and we'll be happy with that. The way the system is set up, though, it looks to me as if we're going to get a little bit more than rain, because we might get some rain and it's gusting outwards quite a distance, and so we might get some wind as well. And so from this weekend we want people to start looking after yourselves, looking after your property. Make sure that you have something in the house to eat, so that if you can get out, you're okay. Make sure you put some gas or diesel in the generator, because at the best of times in Nevis, we want help with the electricity. So make sure that you are safe. Now, Tulu, exam results are out. And I am told that in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, that Tariq Allen sat some 14 subjects and he got 13 grade 1s. So he's our top student. And at the Clarence Fitzroy Bryant College, Xavier Jean Bass gained 5 grade 1s at Cape. And then we have to look down now here in Nevis. They tell me that our top boy is Makibu Truss, who got some 11 1s. And Corvincia Webb is our top student overall and our top girl, who got some 12 1s. And then when you look at the performance of the schools, the Gingerland Secondary School is our best secondary school in the Federation in terms of the percentage pass rate.
Hallelujah.
Last year they were number 1, because last year they were at 91.81% pass rate, and that was almost a 5 percentage point. No, the second school would have been 88.47, which was the Keon High School last year. And this year, the Gingerland Secondary School has a pass rate of 89.08%. So just a little slight dip, but they maintain their first position. And the second in terms of percentage pass rate in the entire federation is the Charlestown Secondary School with 83.29%. And they actually improved from the 80.51% pass rate last year. And so the two schools in Nevis come in the top two schools in the federation in terms of the percentage pass rate. Well, I said two schools in Nevis. We actually have a private high school here in Nevis as well. And they did extremely well, moving their pass rate from 45.54% last year to 74.05% this year. But in terms of the order, in third place overall in the federation from our secondary schools, Charles E. Mills, significant improvement, moving from 70.02% to 83.02%. And in fourth place, the Keon High School, who saw a dip, moving from 88.47% last year to 80.08%, and that is fairly significant. You're talking about nearly an 8-point dip. And then in fifth place is the Washington Archibald School, moving from 86.87 to 79.68. And in sixth place, Bastia High School, dropping from 82.09% to 77.66%. In seventh place, ICCS 78.08 to 75.30%, and we told you about the Nevis International School already. And so the exam results are out, and the children now know what they did. They now know where they will be going and so on. But the thing is, Tulu, it doesn't matter about these exams in terms of whether you saw an increase or a decrease. What we want is for the children, whether they pass, yes or not, however they pass, we want them to say, listen, this is a start. And if you failed some subjects, go back and take them over. Don't just sit down and say, hey, listen, I'm not going to go back that road again. You go back and take them over. And you know, nowadays you fail, now you can retake in January. The other thing is that these children are now going to be looking for scholarships. They are going to be looking for assistance. And we know that in the previous administration, there was a system in place which encouraged people to go and do their A-levels. And so there was assistance for students who were attending the sixth form here in Nevis and the Clarence Fitzroy Bryan College in St. Kitts. That has been stopped by this present federal government. And I am looking to see what will happen to the enrollment numbers. Because when you have children going to school and it is going to cost you, sometimes, unfortunately, the parents have to make a decision as to what they're going to spend their dollars on. The other thing that we have to recognize is that a lot of these parents are single parents. And so is one person bringing in a paycheck. And they have to decide how much of that is going to be spent on food, how much of that is going to be spent on clothing and shelter, and more importantly, how much of that is going to be spent on their children's education. And so we know that the children don't get their laptops anymore, but we are still urging that the government do more for these children. And not only that, but these children who have finished with their A-levels and are now ready to transition, not to the world of work, but to the world of further education, they should be assisted so that they can get on their way towards their college and whatever they want to do in college. So, Tulu, congratulations to all of the students who did well. Those of you who didn't do so well, as I said earlier, make another stab at it. And I'm going to do something that people normally forget to do when they are congratulating students. I'm going to congratulate their parents and the teachers, all the persons who helped, because it is important that we continue to help our students.
So, Paul, I will let me join you in congratulating all those who would have done extremely well during the last school term in the exam. I'm going to single out Carvincia because I know Carvincia very well. She's from Hanley's Road, but more importantly, she's my sister in the Lord. We attend the same assembly, and I have a chance to minister to her from time to time spiritually and even interact socially. She's indeed a brilliant student, and so congratulations to your Carvincia. Congratulations to her parent, Alistair and Karen Webb, and then the rest of the family down there in Hanley's Road, and for all the others who would have done well. It is wonderful to know that we have a young man who is our top student, because the stigma is that the young men are not interested in anything education. All they want to do is to drink rum and everything bad we put towards them. And here we have a young man who would have done tremendously well, and I want to really congratulate him and to say to all the other young men that you have a chance to aspire to. Now, some may not get 14 subjects, some may only get one, and if that is your capacity, one, you has not failed. And so congratulations all the way around. Suppose I want to believe, however, that with all of these passes that we have, the brilliant students will be brilliant. Always. The thing is, what is being done to help those who are not brilliant? But with a little bit of nurture and guidance, especially in terms of homework assistance, that student that would have left school with no subject, but had some potential, had they gotten the assistance that was required, could have left with one. The person who had two could have left with perhaps with four. And so I am seeing the short-sightedness in the Van Samwe administration in cutting back on the homework assistance program. We also had a program on the Hensley Daniel Reading Start With Us. They cut back that one too, because it is fundamental. If a student learns to read at an early age, it is just natural that they are going to do better in school than those who are not able to. And we must bear in mind that there are some of the parents who are not too good at doing that. And so the homework assistance was there to help the parent, to help the child, to help the community, because if we help one student, we are helping the community at large. And so I trust that the people of Nevis will make a wise decision and get rid of Van Sam and Mark Brantley, and so that we could have these programs back. But congratulations to all the students, to all the schools. Gingerland, Nevis getting first and second. I'm curious about the Barstow High School. Where do they stack up in comparison to last term versus this time?
Well, they moved from 82.09% to 77.66%. And came in at 6th in the federation.
And we must put that at the feet of Van Samre, Mark Brantley, Timothy Harris, and all the others who has put the children's education on the back burner for their own political survival. It's all about it. This ruckus about the Barstow Senior High School has absolutely nothing to do with the campus. It has everything to do with their ego to get into office, and this is something that they're using to try to get there. So here it is, the school has gone backward because of this nonsense. And you know what I'm told? I'm told that classes goes on in the same campus. I'm told that there are persons who go into the woodwork shop to do the whatever operation they do there. But the students doesn't have access. So the students who are trending towards that area are deprived of that. Because these guys are interested in their political survival. And so therefore we have all this ruckus. But then again, the question must be asked, where are the parents of all these children? Because when Denzel Douglas was inside there, teachers were able to take people's children and get them out to demonstrate, to fight for their cause. What happened to the majority of the parents of these children? Why are they not out there demonstrating and marching and saying to Timothy Harris and the others, listen, what you have done to our children, you have done us something wrong, not only our children, but the society in general. So they had a right to march, and march for their wrong, believing that they're right. But parents who are right and whose children are suffering, we sit down docile and dormant and says nothing and take no action. And so therefore, evil prevail because good people sit back, say nothing, and do nothing. And so the ruckus that we have here with all this confusion is because the parents refuse to say anything. The parents refuse to do anything. And so Timothy Harris, Vance, and Mark Brentley and the others believe that they are justified and believing that building a new school is going to help those who have been deprived now. No, we ain't going to help them. You have already deprived them. They've already lost out on what they've lost out on, and they cannot regain it. Oh boy, I'm getting passionate. Let me cool down here. Mr. Boyle?
I didn't speak about the Navy sixth form, so I'll give you those numbers now. In 2016, their percentage pass rate was 84.12%. And there is just a tiny drop off this year, where it came in at 83.57%, which is still very commendable. In terms of the national rates, the national pass rates, for those students who wrote CAPE, the national pass rate was 87.14% compared to 85.75% in 2016, which is a slight improvement. And then the CSEC rates recorded in this year is 75.71%, which is a decline when compared to 82.83% last year in 2016. So those are the numbers for you. And as we said, we wish all of the students very, very well. We're going to take another break. And when we come back, we're going to still have a lot more stuff to talk to you about. We always have more than the Torah's worth of material. We'll be back after this.
I won't even tell you, don't touch that dial, because you can't. You're tuned to Choice Radio 105.3 FM.
Seabridge SKN announces their daily schedule between St. Kitts and Nevis. The boat departs Nevis at 7 a.m., 9 a.m., 11 a.m., 1, 3, and 6 p.m. That's 7 a.m., 9 a.m., 11 a.m., 1, 3, and 6 p.m. The boat leaves St. Kitts at 8 a.m., 10 a.m., 12 noon, 2, 4, and 7 p.m. That's leaving St. Kitts at 8 a.m., 10 a.m., 12 noon, 2, 4, and 7 p.m. Seabridge SKN, bridging the gap.
You're listening to Community Radio, Choice 105.3. This is the Magic Man. Keep it locked.
Yeah, my name is Chris Martin and dancing to the fullest. You don't know. I'm here say from you want investment, development, and good education for the kids. Me have to big up NRP. You don't know. Smartin, representing for the NRP massive. Love yourself, believe in yourself. You're very important. Hashtag NRP a big deal. Alright, listen up. VIP, NRP, them a VIP. Nevis and Nevisions, them a VIP. Ask anybody, NRP is a big deal. Nevis people a big deal. Okay, very, very, very important. Important for it. NRP is a big deal. Youth education is a big deal. Okay, very, very, very important. Important for real. This has nothing to do with money or fame or vanity. This one is all for Nevis' worth. So big up your chest if you love the land of your birth, cause NRP will give you maximum effort. So whether you walk or you a drive car, it don't matter if you're white or black like tar. NRP vibes is to uplift your star. Push up on the one and tell all the haters we a big deal. NRP is a big deal. Youth education is very important. Important for it. NRP is a big deal. Nevis people a big deal. Okay, very, very, very important. Important for it. NRP, easy.
Thank you very much and welcome back to Tell Me. We're in our final minutes here of Tell Me. And you know, Marshall and Tulu, today somebody sent me a video which was posted on the Facebook page for that one over there. That Bagamout do nothing fella. Apparently he went on YouTube and lifted a video which was done by Elton Marcus Hall, and put it on his page and said that, let me read one of the sentences. Some in this video now said they no longer support the CCM. Perhaps these images will remind them and remind us of when we all sacrificed for our island. What has Mark Brantley ever sacrificed for Nevis? Not a blessed thing. He has gained from Nevis, not sacrifice a blooming thing, as my grandmother would say. I got to ask Mama what blooming mean though, because she always liked to use that word. He didn't sacrifice a blooming thing for Nevis. And he lifted this video and put it on Facebook. He says an election is due in Nevis within the next 7 months. Let us remember, because some of us because some are hoping we forget. Now, let me put that in context for you. You see, in this island of Nevis, the people expect to go to the polls maximum every 5 years. They went to the polls in January of 2013. So we are talking at the end of the month of August. And so the people expect that they are going to go to vote in January. There is nothing wrong with this present government in Nevis having worn out its welcome, wanting to hold on a little longer before the people send them packing for incompetence and lies and all this corruption that we have seen, when a minister of government can say all he needs is 5 years and he would be a millionaire. I'm told that he done gone past his million mark and the 5 year time has not come yet. So he has kept his word. 1 term in office and he will thief enough so that he would make $1 million. Which is one of the reasons why CCM can bring the Integrity in Public Life Act. Because if they bring that act, they're going to have some problems explaining to the commissioners how some of them got so rich overnight. So when you heard that one over there saying all the time, from rags to riches, a friend of mine told me every time he says something, coop him, is that he want to do. So they have gone exactly that same route. But you see, when that one over there, double blankly, lifted this YouTube video and posted it, obviously hoping to get some mileage from it, he missed a couple of things. One, in the statement, he missed the fact that the people of Nevis expect to go to vote not later than January. If he wants to take it longer, every single minute longer, would be a sign by the CCM administration that they have no confidence that they will win. Because when you are in government and you think that you will win, you don't need any extra time. You know that the game is 90 minutes. If it is football, you win the game in 90 minutes. If it is politics, the game is 5 years. And you expect to win the game within those 60 months. Anytime you have to scramble and say you want extra time to seal the deal, you're in trouble. Plenty trouble. So when he lifted this video and put it on Facebook, one of the persons who commented on the video is Tina A. Hall, the wife of Marcus Hall. And I will share her comments with you. You do not have permission to share this video or to use Elton for your personal gain. You must speak to him before you use it again. That is the wife of Elton Hall. Now when something came in and made a comment. You know a fella they call Marvin, who owe everybody? And bailiff look for him morning, noon and night. He came in and he made a comment. I'm not going to distinguish him by reading his comment. I will read what Tina responded to him. I understand, but Marvin Hanley, you know that Mark is using Elton as he and his government threw him overboard and destroyed his business. And then Vance lied to him straight in his face and told him he would not bring in any more sweet and did anyway. He is trying to make it look like Elton is supporting them, which he is not. And then that one over there came in again and made a comment. But I am not going to speak for Elton. His wife already spoke for him. And she know him better than me and can speak for him better than me. And Elton can speak for himself too. I am told, Tulu, that after these comments, that one over there pulled down the video from his Facebook page. So he put it up to get noticement. And when he was challenged by the wife of Elton Hall, he went and pulled it back down. Because that is how he operates. Do things to get notice. Say things to look votes. And when people take him on head on, he back off full speed. I don't know if you were aware of all of this happening, but you say you don't go Facebook. No, you got to learn to go Facebook.
I am not in the Facebook story. I am in this book. See this one here? I deal with that book the most of it. Getting to Facebook is going to deprive me from this book. So I spend more of my time on that book. But I am not surprised at what he does. The fact is that Mark is an empty individual. Me I call him the one over there across there. Mark, with all his education, is empty. He has nothing inside of him that will be of any real benefit to anybody. Anybody who get close to him cannot come out on the other side better. They got to come out on the other side evil. And so therefore, to prop himself up, he's going to try to use people's stuff to put it across there to make him look good. And so I'm going to leave him at the foot of the cross until he's demon and then catch up with him, because somewhere along the line he must pay for the evil that he has done. If this book that I just told you about is true, and which I hold dear and it is true, he got to pay for the wickedness that he has done to people. And so therefore I'm going to leave him. When his demon catch up with him, somebody say I might have to pray for him. I'm not sure I'm going to pray. I'm going to do like the Lord said to Joshua, Joshua, stop your praying. Get up and do some action. There's some people, you see them going to hell, let them go along.
You got to save everybody too. Look.
No,
You got to try to save everybody.
The Lord says to Israel, listen, I warn you, and you didn't take me on. He said, listen, when your calamity come upon you, the Lord said, I am going to laugh at you, I'm going to mock you. And so therefore, I'm not better than the Lord. And the Lord said he's going to mock some people. Then I'm following the Lord. There's some people.
Well, we've come to the end of 2 hours. And I'm going to leave you this way. Based on the post from Mark Brantley, when he posted that video which he grabbed from YouTube to put up there and try to gain some benefit from using an Elton Marcus Hall video, he has spent his time in government badly. Tulu likes to talk about the Bible, so let me use the Bible with Tulu and make Marshall happy. You know in the Bible that the Lord shared some talents, and some people got 10, and some got 5, and some got 1. Well, this is like Mark Brantley getting the 1 talent and saying, who are you, God, to give me 1 talent? I'm going to hide it under a bushel. And when the master came back now and said, but where is your 1? He said, I was afraid that I would lose it. So I hid it here under a bushel. It is safe.
Mr. Paul, you're wrong. You know? He was one of the one who was given 5 talents and started to make noise. Okay, so he hid the 5 and said, listen, the 5 is not enough. So he's in a worse category.
Well, I am giving him 1. It is stupid to handle 5. So I'm going to give him. If you want to give him 5, you give him 5. But whatever it is, the result is the same. He did not use his talent. And so the Brownhill people don't have a road because he didn't use his talent. The Brownhill playing field, they're stripping the lights from it because Brownhill people must not play anything on the lights. He did not use his talent. He promised the people that he was going to give $1 million in scholarship for poor people. Nobody got any, so he didn't use that talent. And all of these, I'm thinking about poor children in Brownhill who would have been able to benefit. So his child can get 12 subjects and be congratulated later. But what about poor barefoot Bob down the road who don't have a computer so that his child can research something so that they can get 9 and 10 and 11 and 12 subjects too? When Mark Brantley was a part of the group that denied the students of Nevis laptop computers, his child got smartphone, they got all kind of computers and gadgets that they can use. You think about it. And now he is saying to you that he wants some extra time, that the elections are due in 7 months. The people of Nevis are accustomed to going to vote 60 months after the government was elected. But he is saying he wants 63 because the 60 months not enough. You see, here is a challenge. Let me go back to my Bible again. He is like the virgin who was given a lamp and no oil and didn't go to look for the oil to put in the lamp. And when the bridegroom came, he went and he begged one of the brides who had oil, give me some of yours. What he is saying to us by his action is that, listen, the 60 months were not enough for me. After all, I am Brantley. Give me 63 months so that I can try to use the 3 months to see what I can do to help to secure myself, not to make things better for the people of Nevis. The Chinese investors did not come. The extra boats bringing tourists to Nevis did not come. The 4 extra dialysis machines for the hospital did not come. But he wants 3 more months to see how he can fool you again. I'm saying to you, the people of Nevis, that no CCM administration, no double blankly, will be able to fool the people of Nevis again. They promised much and they delivered little. Tulu, your closing remarks.
all I'm going to say here is that the man was given 5 talents, and he said 5 was not enough, so he's not going to use the 5. And so therefore he put the 5 down and he said, I should have had what? 3 extra, I should have had 8. But on a serious note, the people of Nevis would have understand by now that Vance Amory and Mark Brantley are 2 failures, and that the trust that we place in their hands was misplaced. I have to blame us. And the reason why I blame us is because Vance Amory says to us, without offering anything, just put me in and you're going to see what I come up with. Well, we placed him in and we saw what he came up with. He came up with nothing. Are you going to put him back in? Then Mark came and he promised all sorts of things that is going to follow him. And well, they said that he said he didn't make any promise. He made a contract with the people of Nevis. So he gave us a contract. And you must ask yourself if he has delivered anything on that contract, because he claimed he made a contract and he has fulfilled everything that he has written in the contract. And so you must know whether or not he has delivered anything to you that he promised in the contract. And I'm sure that you know that he has not delivered. And I know that he knew and he knows that he has not delivered. And so this is why he's asking for stall time. People of Nevis, I know that we are wise. Wise people do wise things. And so therefore, I close with that. A word to the wise is sufficient, we are told. I say a word to the wise is enough.
We'll be back with you next week, God's willing, and we say to you, again as we leave you, keep your eyes on the hurricane which is approaching. Hurricane Irma, they said, will develop to Category 4 shortly. And the track it is on, they say, is the same track that Hugo came through on, and Ivan and others. So I don't have to tell you anything more. It is a very powerful storm. Keep your eyes on it and be safe. We'll be back with you next week, God's willing.
Tell me what you want. Tell me what you need.
Listen.
Caller, you want to tell me and then we tell you what.
Learn.
My passion first is for young men to be what we used to call in the boys' brigade, sure and steadfast.
Tell me, a choice program on Thursdays from 8 to 10 p.m. It's eye-opening.
Hello. I want to tell people them be careful what they call Nevis people. Anybody calling us trash, we're going to lick you and we're going to lick you real hard.
Thought-provoking.
You old people you're calling outsiders.
No. Interesting.
Hush your mouth, because you don't even know the facts. Oral Martin should have make it his business to notify NNC.
Oh, you work at NNC?
And let me know.
And entertaining. Tell me, heard all over the world on www.choicefm1053.com. What have you got to say? Calling on area code 869-469-5300. From the USA or Canada, call 203-983-8903. From your cell phone, call 662-5304 or text 1053 or email tellmechoice@yahoo.com. Nivisions, near and far, your chance to call in on Tell Me on Choice Community Radio.
Tell me what you want. Tell me what you need. Tell me if I'm good enough for you, baby.
The views and opinions expressed on the preceding program are not necessarily those of Choice FM Community Radio or its advertisers.